Hi everyone, you're watching WisdomShots. There's a story many years ago of an elementary school teacher. Her name was Mrs. Thompson. And as she stood in front of her fifth grade class on her very first day of school, she told the children a lie. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said that she loved everybody the same. And that was a lie because there in the front row, slumped in his seat, was a little boy named Teddy Stoddard. Now, Mrs. Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he didn't play well with other children, that his clothes were messy and that he constantly needed a bath, and Teddy could be unpleasant at times. It got to the point where Mrs. Thompson would actually take delight in marking his papers with a broad red pen, making a bold X at the top of his paper. At the school where Mrs. Thompson taught, she was asked to review each child's past records. So when she reviewed his file, and she was in for a surprise, Teddy's first grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and has good manners. He is a joy to be around." His second grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he's troubled because his mother has a terminal illness and life at home must be a struggle." His third grade teacher wrote, "His mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will soon affect him, if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's fourth grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends and sometimes he sleeps in the class." By now Mrs. Thompson realized the problem and she was ashamed of herself. It was Christmas time and all children got gifts for their teacher. All children brought her Christmas presents wrapped in beautiful ribbons and bright paper, except for Teddy's. So his present was wrapped in a heavy brown paper that he got from a grocery shop. So Mrs. Thompson struggled to open it in the middle of the other presents. Some of the children started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing and a half bottle perfume. So she stifled the children's laughter when she exclaimed how pretty the bracelet was and putting it on and dabbling some of the perfume on her wrist. So Teddy Stoddard stayed after school that day just long enough to say, "Mrs. Thompson, today you smelled just like my mom used to." After the children left, she started crying. On that very day, she began to really teach children. Mrs. Thompson paid particular attention to Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind seemed to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. By the end of the year, Teddy had become one of the smartest children in the class. And despite her lie that she would love everybody the same, Teddy became one of her favorite students. A year later, she found a note under her door from Teddy telling her that she was still the best teacher he ever had in his whole life. 6 years went by before she got one more letter from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school, third in his class, and she was still the best teacher he ever had in his whole life. 4 years after that, she got one more letter saying that he would soon graduate from college with the highest of honors. And he assured that Mrs. Thompson that she was still the best and favorite teacher he ever had in his whole life. Then 4 more years passed and one more letter came. And this time he explained that after he got his bachelor's degree, he decided to study further. The letter explained that she was still the best and favorite teacher he ever had, but now his name was a little longer and the letter was signed Dr. Teddy F. Stoddard, MD. And the story doesn't end here. You see, there was one more letter later. Teddy said he had met his girl and was going to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago and he was wondering if Mrs. Thompson might agree to sit in the place at the wedding that was usually reserved for the mother of the groom. Of course, Mrs. Thompson agreed. And guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with several rhinestones missing, and she made sure she was wearing the perfume that Teddy remembered his mother wearing on their last Christmas together. So they hugged each other, and Dr. Teddy whispered in Mrs. Thompson's ear, "Thank you, Mrs. Thompson, for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." So Mrs. Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you." Beautiful, isn't it? See, we all are teachers to someone, as a parent, as a manager, as a friend, and we all can make a difference and learn from each other. So with that, happy Teachers Day, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Stay strong, stay safe.